What if I were to say to you that there was a woman in Ireland, and if you heard her scream, cry, or if you see her in the dead of night, that someone close to you was going to die? Would you believe me? Oh yes, the Banshee, the fairy woman, the woman of the She. This story goes back to ancient times of Ireland. The old family names such as the O'Briens, the O'Connors, the O'Sullivans, and many, many more all have a Banshee attached to their family. Now some say it's only certain families, but if you listen to Eddie Linehan, who is certainly the most famous alive Shanachie today, one of the greatest that was ever been in Ireland, he is under the idea that the Banshee is actually attached to a lot more families than you might believe. And even when the English aristocrats came during the plantation eras, they would have acquired their own Banshee for themselves.
When English families came to Ireland, sometimes they saw, when they were granted land in Ireland, sometimes in the 17th century, they saw the mark of almost possession. The mark of true geldom was having a Banshee. And they weren't slow to spot this and say that, we're only new here, we've been granted land. And it was confiscated land, so we better get a Banshee too if we want to be regarded as the real proprietors to this. So they claimed a Banshee.
You know that I love Brian Boru and the whole story of his life and career leading right up to the Battle of Clontarf. And the O'Briens, which were the Machinatics at the time, they would have had their own Banshee, Aveen. Some say it's Avil. And she used to live up in a cave in Craiglee, just close to Killaloo. And she would have come to Brian potentially the night of the Battle of Clontarf. She certainly was seen by soldiers before the Battle of Clontarf. Even the Scandinavians would have had reports or sightings of this kind of activity previous to the Battle of Clontarf. Coming all the way up through to modern day, there are unbelievable stories of the Banshee. A good friend of mine's father seen a Banshee washing clothes at the side of a road. Of course, at the time, he just thought it was a woman washing clothes, which was potentially very weird. And this is how the Banshee appeared to people in ancient times. And even the Morrigan herself would have taken the form of a kind of a Banshee type figure to Cuchulainn, a washerwoman washing clothes. My friend's father saw this washerwoman at the side of a road while driving late at night, and soon after got word of a loved one that had died. This omen, if you see it, take heed, for something is about to happen to your family or loved ones. This is a very serious warning, for these stories are so commonplace that I know people from my hometown that have claimed to have seen her in a field. This story was corroborated between 3 different individuals that saw the same thing. Are they all lying? But why would 3 different people lie or come up with a story about this? Especially when someone close to them died afterwards. I can't remember exactly if it was one of them, someone died close afterwards, but it was someone that was somehow connected to the 3 of them. Maybe they were cousins or something to that effect. I can't remember the full story. This story was specifically told to me. And this area, which I will not name, is, in my opinion, one of the most haunted places, because I have heard of suicides that have happened in this field, and one that I know of, and also tragedies such as real bad car accidents on the road near it. And also, by the same person that told me about the Banshee story, there was an old monastery that used to stand here, and there was unbelievable activity claimed by a lot of different people in this abandoned place. And when that was knocked, there was a housing estate put in there, and it was in the papers that a family had to leave one of these new houses because of all sorts of poltergeist activity. And this is all happening in the same area. So when I was told about this Banshee in this area, I was not surprised because of all the other stories connected to this area. The Banshee, the fairy woman who can appear as a washerwoman in the dead of night, washing clothes of your loved ones. She can appear as a wailing woman in the middle of a field to 3 different people. She can appear as a person sitting on a wall combing her hair, as Eddie Linehan told the story so eloquently. Or you could just hear it. The reality is, if you have any of these spiritual experiences, of course, the skeptic can rule it out. This Banshee still exists right in modern days, going right back to the Battle of Clontarf and beyond, right up until modern stories have been told. Would you believe me? Oh yes.